Hey everyone, it's Chelsea from the Allen County Public Library, and for this video I'm going to be showing you how to make a dryer ball. And if you aren't familiar with what these are, they are simply a all-natural way to replace dryer sheets, and they bounce around in your dryer and they cut down on the dry time of your clothes. So if you would like to make these, let's get started. What you'll need is some wool yarn, and this I got at Joann's Fabrics in Glasgow, and it is fisherman's wool. You don't have to get this brand, but you do have to have a yarn that is 100% wool and not pre-shrunk. So this is a good one. I've checked it out on the internet that they say this is a good type to use. Also, I've read a lot about Hermano, I think is how you pronounce it, wool. Either of those should be fine, and you can probably check out the internet, see if there's anything else that works. But this is what I'm using, and you can use it too. But you'll need this, you'll need some scissors, you'll need some pantyhose, maybe some old ones that you have lying around that maybe you outgrown, maybe you have a run in them. Those can be used now, and a big needle. You can use a crochet needle, a really tiny one if you have that. I have just like a darning needle. Either one will work. So if you have that, we'll get started. So first, you're gonna take your yarn and you're just gonna make a ball like you would if you were gonna start a project or something to wind all of your yarn into a ball. You're gonna do the same thing. So what I've done is I'm just gonna hold it between two fingers, the end of my yarn, and I'm just gonna wrap it a bunch of times, maybe 10 to 20 times until it just looks good and sturdy. Then we'll slip it off of our finger. So we have a little wad of yarn. I'm gonna kind of pinch it together, and then we'll start wrapping the yarn around this one. And what I do, you can kind of do whatever works best for you, but I kind of work up to one end and I'll work over the other end as best I can. You can't get too close or it'll kind of just keep falling off, but this is kind of what you get. So we're just gonna keep rolling. I like to keep going this way until I have a nice foundation for my ball, and it's thick enough to start switching the directions. So that's about ½ an inch thick there. I'm gonna turn it, and we're gonna start going this way. This is the trickiest part. I don't like starting the ball, but it gets easier. So you can see we're getting a few rounds this way. And if it starts to slide off, that's a good time to turn, and we'll start building up this other direction. And you're just gonna keep doing this, crisscrossing, turning your ball this way and that until you get a good size. So made it a little thicker this direction, and we're gonna switch. I kind of hold one end with my finger so that it doesn't slip off, and then I'll start wrapping around a couple times, and then I can let go of holding that thread down. Alrighty, we're gonna turn it, and eventually you'll get to where you can go in different directions. You don't have to keep going one way or the other. So I've got this a pretty good size, and I'm gonna start just making an X. See how we're going in a different direction now? We're gonna make an X to kind of give some bulk to this ball. Now this process will take a little while, so I'm gonna do a little bit here and then I'll show you the finished product. So I've got going that direction. Now I'm gonna swing it around and go the other direction. Make a nice X. You can see all the different directions we're getting it, and it's starting to form a ball shape. We've got out of our little oblong oval shape, and we're working into a ball. So we'll just keep crisscrossing, turning, changing, and forming a ball. And what you're gonna do is you'll keep doing this until you get to about, I did about a baseball size. It will shrink a little bit in the washer, but not too much. So you'll keep twisting, twisting, twisting until you get a good sized ball. Okay, so now that I have my ball, as you can see, it's about the same as this one. What you're gonna do is you're gonna cut your ball from your skein of yarn, and this is where your needle is gonna come in handy. So now that I have my needle, I'm gonna thread the end of my yarn into my needle, just like I was gonna take off sewing or something. And what you're basically doing is you're weaving in this loose end, because if you just put this in the washer, it'd come unraveled. So this is not a hard thing, it's super easy. So you'll just take your needle and you'll insert it into your ball. I kind of do a few stitches just to make sure it's really secure. So I've put it in one way, go a different direction, and I just kind of work my way across the ball a few times. And you can't insert it all the way through with this needle. If you had a small crochet hook, you could probably do that. But either way works. So just keep inserting just a little bit, not just through the surface, but I kind of stick it pretty far deep into the ball so that it's gonna be really secure. It cannot come undone. So I've done about 4 or 5 stitches there. Take the needle off and we'll just cut this thread off. So now my ball is ready to be felted. And if you don't know what felting is when you take wool fiber and you agitate it, and that makes it go from looking like individual yarn strands, and it'll become more smooth. Like you can see in this one, it looks almost like a web. It's all felted together. Those fibers, the heat and the agitation kind of just works them together. If you've taken Jamie's needle felting class, you kind of did that before, and instead of using heat and friction, you're using needles to create that friction to weave those fibers together to make this felted appearance. So now to do that, we're going to take our ball and you will put it into your stocking. So if you were going to make enough balls for your dryer, you'd need about 3 or 4 of these. So what I would do is make all the balls that you want to make, and you will put them into your stocking here, and go all the way to the toe, and then you'll just tie it off. I don't get them too tight because it can be really hard to get them out. You'll have to completely cut the pantyhose if you don't tie them very loose. So just a little loose tie like that, and then you can put in as many as you made and just tie a knot in between each one, and this is ready to go into the washer. So in order to felt, I've done this one 3 times. I'll probably do it one more time just to make sure it's really good and felted, but you will put it in the washer at the highest heat setting that you have, and then you'll put it in the dryer at the highest heat setting that you have, and you'll do that a few times. You can put it in with a load of other laundry that you have. I think it works really good with some towels. If you have towels to wash or some whites or anything like that, that's a good thing to just throw it in with your load of laundry. That way you're not wasting any water. It's just part of your laundry routine, and after about 3 or 4 washes, you will have a complete set of dryer balls. And then you can save some money, hopefully, by shortening your dry time in your laundry routine, and also by not having to buy dryer sheets. So if you like the smell of dryer sheets, you can also add some essential oils to this. If you want to put some lavender or vanilla or orange, I think I've seen people use, you just put a few drops on it, and that lasts a few loads of laundry, and you just keep adding that as you prefer. So that is how you make wool dry balls. I hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you next time.